If you've ever struggled with anxiety, brain fog, low mood, or emotional exhaustion that doesn't seem to make sense, that you can't quite understand, I want you to hear this first. There is nothing wrong with you. For generations, we've been taught that mental health lives entirely in the brain, that anxiety is a thinking problem, that depression is a motivation problem, that if we could just be more positive, more disciplined, or more resilient, we would feel better. And quietly, that belief creates shame. But what if your mind isn't failing you? What if it's responding exactly as it was designed to, based on signals coming from your body? Today, we're going to talk about something that is rarely explained clearly, but has the power to completely reframe mental health. The connection between your gut, your nervous system, and your emotional well-being. Not from a place of fear, not from a place of fixing yourself, but from a place of understanding and safety. We're going to go through several parts, and the first is why mental health is not just in your head. Your brain does not operate in isolation. It is constantly receiving information from the rest of your body, especially your gut. Your digestive system contains its own nervous system, often called the enteric nervous system. It's made up of millions of neurons that communicate directly with your brain through the vagus nerve. Immune signals, hormones, and chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. But here's something most people don't realize. About 90% of your serotonin, the neurotransmitter that's commonly associated with mood and emotional stability, 90% of that serotonin is produced in the gut, not in the brain. So when your gut environment is inflamed, stressed, or imbalanced, your brain receives those signals as danger. Even if your life looks okay or calm on the outside, internally, you're giving yourself a different message. That's why anxiety can just show up with no clear reason, or why stress can feel exaggerated. That's why emotional resilience disappears. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's communicating. Which brings us to part 2, introducing psychobiotics. This is where probiotics are entering the conversation, but we need to slow down and clear up some of the confusion. Not all probiotics affect mental health. For years, probiotics were marketed as a generic digestive solution. Take a probiotic became a blanket recommendation, as if all bacteria do the same thing, but they don't. Just like medications, probiotics are strain specific. Different strains perform completely different tasks. The term psychobiotics refers to specific probiotic strains that have been studied for their ability to influence mood, anxiety, stress response, and emotional regulation. These bacteria, though, don't act like antidepressants. They don't force happiness, and they don't numb emotions. What they do is help to regulate how your nervous system responds to stress. Think of them as volume controls rather than complete mood changers. They help to turn down excessive stress signaling so your system can return to balance more easily. And that distinction matters. That brings us to part 3, the probiotic strains that have been studied for mental health. This is where we're going deeper because specificity is what really separates real education from just wellness noise. Now, when research shows that a probiotic improves anxiety or mood, it is never talking about probiotics in general. It is talking about very specific strains tested in humans where changes in stress hormones, mood scores, or nervous system markers were actually measured. So let's walk through the most important ones slowly, clearly, and without overwhelm. I will also copy notes about these specific strands in the description below if you need to go back and have something to look at as you're trying to make these changes. The first is Lactobacillus rhamnosus. This is one of the most studied probiotic strains when it comes to stress and anxiety regulation. What makes Lactobacillus rhamnosus unique is how it interacts with GABA, a calming neurotransmitter that tells your body or tells your nervous system it's safe to slow down. And when GABA signaling is low, the brain stays hyper alert and thoughts race and the body feels tense and stress just lingers. Studies have shown that this strain can influence GABA receptor activity and reduce exaggerated stress responses. Now, in real life, people don't describe this as feeling happy. They describe feeling less reactive, less edgy, less overwhelmed by small things. This strain supports emotional resilience, not emotional numbing. The next one I want to discuss is Lactobacillus helveticus. Lactobacillus helveticus is often studied for its calming, grounding effects on the nervous system. In human studies, it has been associated with improved stress coping, reduced psychological distress, and better emotional balance. One reason this strain is so valuable is its relationship with cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, which directly affects both the gut lining and the brain. This strain helps to support that regulation, not suppression. Now, I often describe it as helping the body feel safe enough to relax. Next is Bifidobacterium longum. Bifidobacterium longum is one of the most consistent strains studied for mood and anxiety support. It plays a key role in reducing inflammatory signaling and supporting emotional regulation. Why does this matter? Because chronic low-grade inflammation sends danger signals to the brain, even when life circumstances are stable. But in studies, this strain has been associated with reduced anxiety symptoms, improved mood scores, and lower perceived stress. This is a foundational strain for emotional stability. Next is Bifidobacterium impetitus. This strain is particularly interesting because of its relationship with tryptophan, which is the amino acid your body uses to make serotonin. And when the gut is inflamed or stressed, tryptophan is often diverted away from serotonin production and into inflammatory pathways instead. Bifidobacterium impetitus helps to shift that balance back toward natural serotonin support. This is not about forcing neurotransmitters. It's about restoring the environment that allows them to be produced properly. I also want to talk about one more, Lactobacillus plantarum, because it's often studied for its effects on stress tolerance, cognitive clarity, and gut barrier integrity. When the gut lining becomes compromised, inflammatory compounds can enter into circulation and affect the brain function, contributing to brain fog, fatigue, and low mood. This strain helps to strengthen that barrier. People often noticed improved mental clarity and emotional stamina over time using this one. I also want to touch on why multi-strain formulas matter, because most successful mental health probiotic studies use multi-strain formulas, not single strains. That's because mental health isn't driven by just one pathway. Mood, stress, and anxiety, they involve neurotransmitters, immune signaling, gut integrity, hormone regulation, and nervous system balance. So different strains are going to support different pieces of that system. Healing here is about coordination, not mega doses. So in part 4, I want to talk about sometimes why probiotics don't work. This is an important reframe. Probiotics don't fail because your body rejects them. They fail because they're introduced into an environment that doesn't support them. Chronic stress, ultra-processed food, lack of fiber, and the nervous system overload make it very difficult for beneficial bacteria to survive, let alone thrive. Stress hormones directly affect the gut lining. This is why emotional safety matters just as much as supplements. Keep in mind, your body isn't resisting healing. It's waiting for the conditions that allow it, which brings us to part 5, which is food as the foundation. Probiotics are living organisms, and living things need nourishment. That nourishment comes from prebiotics, which are specific fibers that feed beneficial bacteria. These aren't exotic foods. They're found in simple, everyday things like onions, oats, garlic, bananas, apples, beans, vegetables. Fermented foods also take this one step further by introducing live bacteria directly through the food. Sauerkraut, yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, and kombucha, they all contribute to microbial diversity. The key is starting small, just 1 tablespoon at a time, a couple times a day, a few times a week. Try to incorporate it, like I said, gradually, a little bit at a time. This is about safety, not force. Mental health is not a personal failure. It is communication. And when you change the internal environment your nervous system lives in, gently, consistently, and without judgment, your mind follows. You don't need perfection. You don't need extremes. You need small signals repeated daily. And that is something you can start today. Go for it. Get started. Order some probiotics or go get some kombucha or some kefir or some healthy yogurt. Get started. You can do it. If this was helpful, please let me know. Tell me what was the most beneficial for you and what you would also like to learn more about. Share this, give it a like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. I'll link it here. See you then.